I have 9:30 whenever you're ready. All right, good morning. Today is December 6th, 2022. I have 9:30 in the morning. We are in the administration's boardroom. At this point, I will convene our meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call for attendance.
McIntyre?
Here.
Peter?
Here.
DeCook?
Here, we do have a quorum. Are there any agenda deletions or corrections? Seeing none, our first item on the agenda today is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. Claims, we have a claims figure of $413,154.31. Meeting minutes to approve, November 8, 2022 work session, November 9, 2022 emergency special meeting, November 10, 2022 special meeting. C, approve payroll removal, Madison Christian, seasonal naturalist, conservation, effective August 11, 2022. D, approve payroll removal, Monty Freeman, seasonal naturalist, conservation, effective August 12, 2022. E, approve payroll removal, Alan Alsop, temporary conservation aid, effective August 12, 2022. F, approve payroll removal, Vicki Morton, temporary conservation aid, effective September 30th, 2022. G, approve payroll removal, Tristan Streeter, detention officer, sheriff's office, effective November 23, 2022. H, approve payroll removal, Paulette Wright, recorder, effective 12/31/2022. Thank you for your service, Polly. I, approve 6-month increase, Rachel Ransom, clerk, recorder's office, effective January 1, 2023. J, approve step increase, Daniel Brangers, equipment operator 2, secondary roads, effective December 11, 2022. K, approve step increase, Chad Elliott, equipment operator 2, secondary roads, effective 12/23/2022. L, approve new hire, Stacy Hunnell, detention officer, sheriff's office, effective November 14, 2022. M, approve new hire, Tiffany Rhodes, detention officer, sheriff's office, effective November 14, 2022. N, approve new hire, Angela Brandt, detention officer, sheriff's office, effective November 28, 2022. O, approve new hire, Kate Derrick, collections assistant, county attorney's office, effective December 5, 2022. P, approve Class C retail alcohol license for St. James Celebrations LLC. And P, set public hearing date for December 20th, 2022 at 6:05 p.m. for tabled item for the Bourbon Group LLC, 34534 Moffett Lake Road, Cumming, Iowa, 50061. Owner of the property in question is Dale and Linda Webb, 22905 Buchanan Trail, Hartford, Iowa, 50118, for a proposed rezoning from A1 Agricultural District to C2 General Commercial Highway Service District. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye, motion carries. Number 2 is a Norwalk City update from Norwalk Administrator Luke Nelson. Morning, Luke.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I think you guys know this is always best if it's a conversation, so if I say something, you got a question, just interrupt me and ask a question. Well, I wish it was all good news like normally it is when I come to present, but that's not necessarily the case today. But I'm going to talk about some of our challenges up front that we're looking at over the next, I'm going to say, a year and a half or 2 years, and then jump into the fun stuff. So first of all, Things are healthy in Norwalk, things are going well. We do have some challenges, as I mentioned. This past year, we spent some time taking a look at our place in the metro and wanting to make sure that we're remaining competitive. We have a lot of good staff and we want to stay that way. So we did a wage study and we found out that we were in quite a bit of the low rankings on wages. So we did some adjustments. Certainly that had a significant cost impact for us, but overall that's good. We've had a lot of feedback from our staff, obviously. Although we've learned some positives, after we made some adjustments, we actually had a few staff come back and say that they were actually being sought out, more than just one, where they had actually received offers from other entities. But ultimately, because we made ourselves competitive, we kept them right where we were at. Plus, I feel like we've developed a pretty healthy culture, which also, I believe, makes people want to stick around.
Great.
So that was good. Now, planning for fiscal year '24, we're just starting the budget process, going through our CIP. We're starting to have some of our department head meetings. Early on, might as well just touch on this briefly. There's this that should be in front of you. I'll just briefly explain this and what this indicates. The blue line on there shows the average number of single-family home starts from 2015 to 2021. And you'll see that if you had to come up with an average, it's about 20 housing starts every month. Again, that's average over those past 5 years. The current year, calendar year '22, you'll see that we had some great numbers starting out, but as you would imagine, just as intended, with higher interest rates, we saw new housing starts drop significantly. You'll see more recently in October and November, that's in the neighborhood of only 2 housing starts in October and just 4 housing starts in November. So certainly that's an indication of what's to come. The county and the city, we all operate kind of a year in arrears. So the things being built today, we don't start to see those taxes come online for another year to year and a half. The benefit to us is we can see indicators like this today and start to plan immediately. The tough part with our department heads and our staff and even our citizens is they see all the growth, all the things happening, so they expect some of those new amenities, those projects to continue. They see all the new citizens coming to town. Our staff, our department heads know that we need to add staff. Well, we're taking a step back and we're saying for fiscal year '24 at the moment, we are not going to hire any new staff. There are a couple that we've already pre-identified. We're bringing our city attorney on full-time. Previously, it was just a contract. He's coming online full-time as of January 1. And we're going to hire an IT person, and that's because in the past, we had a cooperative agreement with the schools. They provide us IT. They said, hey, you guys are becoming too big. You need to start doing some of your own. So we're hiring somebody for that. But other than those 2 positions, we're not hiring any new staff. Of most disappointment would be our police chief, because he actually applied for a COPS grant and was awarded that. So we're going to be checking into delaying some of those COP grant dollars down the road so that at least we can hold off for a year. Now, as quickly as I say that, I've explained to our council that I want to make sure we remain nimble. So if something comes up mid-year, we find out we can't delay some of those COPS grant, maybe we change our mind and bring somebody on board. A lot of that depends on what kind of revenues we're going to see. 2 benefits. 1, it helps prepare us for the future. 2, if we hold off and hold the line on our budgets for the next year, that allows us to build a little bit more reserves. So then in fiscal year '25, when we start to see not as much growth as we have in the past, some of those reserves, purposeful deficit spending, using those reserves then to balance that next year until things start to recover. So no different at home. If you're looking at, hey, we know we need to buy a furnace next year, you start putting a little bit of money in savings so you know when that expense comes due. Talked about the housing starts. All right, so that's pretty much the negative stuff. Any questions about that?
So you think the housing growth is going to be 2 to 3 year period of lower housing starts, and then so you don't think we're just going through a year, 6-month downturn in housing starts? You think it's going to be a multi-year? That's what you're anticipating?
You know what? I don't claim to be that much of an expert to predict beyond a year.
Okay.
What I'm saying, it really is simplistic. We're just simply looking at the indicators today that this is likely at least a year impact. And because we plan for budgets a year in advance, we can make adjustments now to at least accommodate that year. We watch our housing starts. The only people that watch our housing starts closer than we do is our school district. They get these numbers, seems like weekly I'm getting calls. If we start to see those numbers ramp back up, we can then react over that next year. So I've heard a lot of different things, Darren. I've heard some people say that this is just a short term, maybe even a 6-month. Other people that predict it out 2 to 3. My crystal ball has always been a little bit fuzzy, so I've got to be conservative.
Yeah.
I think the reality is that the hike in interest rates, which is purposeful to slow down the economy,
Yes.
it is a lot easier to finance a house or a housing start, a build, and get a mortgage at 3% or 2.5% or 3.5% versus 6.5 or 7%. You're talking about $300,000 or $400,000. That adds a meaningful amount to someone's budget just in the category of interest. And so that doesn't surprise me that the numbers are tailing down. So I guess as soon as interest rates start lowering, I would anticipate that the housing starts would increase. When that happens, who knows?
Yep, I believe that's a safe bet. Okay, so now for the more fun stuff, growth and development. So while our housing, Norwalk is primarily housing. I mean, we're 85% of our value comes from housing. That's why we watch that segment so close. However, as we grow, we start to see more commercial coming online. With that said, I asked Holly, our Economic Development Director, to give me an update on some of the new projects. So I'm just going to list them. I have 22 listed here, so I'm going to go pretty fast. She's crossed through some of the names, saying I can't formally announce some of them, so I'll just say what kind of store it is. First, Turnberry Square, it's Town Car Wash. LaQuercia expansion. You may have seen that LaQuercia was recently purchased by a larger, I'm going to get the name wrong, something like Iowa Pork Producers or Midwest Pork Producer Company. So they're planning an expansion of LaQuercia. Michael Foods, they're planning an expansion. Windsor Widows is planning an expansion. The Dunn Industrial Phase 1. So if you remember Dunn Industrial Park, we came to you and requested some of the funds. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on yes, ARPA funds, of which you awarded us some of those. We're already seeing some development. If you get up to Norwalk, look at that industrial site, you'll already see some dirt moving, which is great.
Good.
That first one, they're predicting about $6 million of taxable value. Legacy Retail, an auto parts store, 2 hotels. Actually, there's 3 that have shown interest, but our hotel study says easily 2 hotels are supported. That's why we say 2 hotels, even though we have 3 different interested. 2 coffee shops. We went from no coffee shops to 1, and now we're moving towards 3. Hughes Crossing Retail. Dunn Industrial Phase 2. That's anticipated at about a $12 million taxable value. Another car service, convenience store, another car service, meaning car service like you go to get your oil changed type of thing or repairs. 2 national brand retailers, and this would be south of Mahalo's, between Mahalo's and the Casey's on the north side of town. Fairway just announced they closed on property. They're going to be building a new store. When they first met with us, they said it might be between 5 and 7 years, and that became 1. So that's pretty cool.
Incredible.
She crossed it out, I'll just say another store. 1409 Reno is a new retail. And then Sportsplex private buildings along, so that'd be where the pods are going, the outdoor, where the city facility is going. For now, we're calling it the core, although we're working on sponsorships and naming rights, so that name could change. But the overall taxable value in that area is estimated at about $14 million. So those are all the commercial projects. So I'm talking about residential going down. At the same time, we're hitting that population where we're starting to see a lot more of the commercial service retail. You know, we're not talking big mall type thing, but some of those service that are directed more locally. So that's great news. And quickly, because we get 90% on the dollar with commercial compared to about 50% on the dollar with residential, that new commercial value goes a long ways. Any questions about those new projects. As far as some of our large city projects that we're doing, like infrastructure, so the second certified site, that's one I mentioned a bit earlier, that we were awarded some grant funds from you folks. That's going well. We're finalizing a purchase agreement. We had to swap some land for an easement, so we're getting all land acquisition taken care of, and that's for our North River Interceptor. We're coming up with some preliminary designs on what the road network would look like in that certified site. As I mentioned to you, that certified site's in the neighborhood of about 200 acres. North Avenue and Highway 28 intersection, that one seems like it's been under construction forever. Beardsley and Highway 28, that's the next intersection. Sorry, Aaron, but you're gonna have a horrible detour there for about I'm gonna say about 8 months once that project gets underway.
Hey, the south one's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's coming around.
It's almost done. It's almost done.
The final leg of the Great Western Trail connection. So we officially have a connection, although Great Western Trail connects to, I'm going to call it more of a sidewalk than a trail. So we're finishing up that last section. The water tower near Norwalk Central, we're on the verge of having a purchase agreement for that land, which is great. So I'm guessing that's about a 5 to 6 year before you actually start to see that water tower come out of the ground. Norwalk Central, all the street, sewer, and water is currently going in. So if you get up to that area, you see the new lights that were put up as part of the Sportsplex project. Roundabouts, I would say that's going to be a little bit of a buzz. We have several traffic studies that we've been doing somewhat around our schools to try and keep traffic flowing in a safer situation. We're looking at actually installing roundabouts in a couple locations. That's just in planning stages right now. Of course, that would involve some significant amount of land acquisition to make that happen. And then the final thing I'll note is our city facility planning is really going into high gear. Our library, they're probably on the forefront of looking at what they can do, either an expansion of their current facility or looking for new land where they'll do a library. Close behind that probably comes something between either City Hall or the police department. Our police department and fire department are currently combined in one building called the Public Safety Building, and they're starting to get pretty stuffed in that space. Any questions? Awesome.
Yeah, exciting.
Yes, exciting stuff. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks
Yeah,
for coming.
thank
Thank you so much, Luke. Appreciate the update. That's really, honestly, pretty good for this board to hear too, because, when he's talking about arrears, 18 months ago, there was a lot of starts, so budgets for the next year are gonna look up. But
Absolutely.
it looks like 25 might be, you might not see the
The problem.
velocity of growth. All right, number 3 is consider approval of Value Payment Systems, VPS contract, preferred vendor, GEO Snyder online permitting system with possible action. Good morning.
Good morning.
Coming to you this morning to consider the approval of the Value Payment System, VPS, which is the preferred vendor for online permitting, geo online permitting. I was hoping to have the contract with me this morning to be able to provide to you. However, they will not be able to get it to me until this afternoon, and then I will get it to Dawn to review. But I did just want to provide to you that I have been in contact with the other departments here in Warren County, including engineering, zoning, the attorney's office, conservation, and of course, health services, who are all on board to be involved in this contract. So
Good.
if you have any questions for me, I can have the contract to you this afternoon to review.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if we're ready for a motion or not.
Nope, we'll tackle that after we have a contract reviewed by the board and by legal, but we can add it to a work session later this week or next week.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you for the update.
Yes.
Number 4 is consider approval of application to use Warren County Administration Building with possible action. Looks like an application from Vicky for pictures with pets. And I'm going to let,
I thought she was going to be here, but
you want to present it? Or do you want to wait for her? I'm good with either. Well, why don't we just bump it? We'll wait for Vicky to present that. So we'll come back to number 4. Number 5 is consider approval of James Oil Company LLC. David was already walking up here before. He's like, I know where this is going. Next up, Aaron. James Oil LLC fuel quote with possible action. Good morning, David.
Morning. This is the yearly fuel quote for the county and as well as the city. So we had one bidder this year. That was James Oil Company LLC, and the total quote is $1,204,006.60. And typically, we see about 1 to 3 bidders on this type of quote. And we did go back and check versus old quotes, and the margins are very comparable. So just for the board and the public's sake, the fuel price is set by the DOT rack price, and what the vendors are really bidding on is what they call a vendor margin, which is their cost up or down to actually deliver the goods to the site. So.
What was last year's fuel bid?
Last year's fuel bid, the total was $804,855.10 was the low quote received. And the difference you'll find is if I pulled just the number 2 premium diesel, the rack price from a year ago was $2.5431. And compared to today, it's $4.0496.
But the margin's identical.
The margin is comparable, if not better, than last year's.
They're running a zero margin on it.
Yes, and that's the important, I think, information in that quote.
Is James who our contract is with now, or is that somebody else?
This current fiscal year, we're contracted with James Oil, and there were 3 quotes received that last year.
Yeah. You feel like this is the best financial situation for us?
Yeah, based on doing a little bit of research and comparing the margins year to year, I think it's still a very competitive quote. It's only the price of the fuel itself where we're seeing the increase. So whether we receive 1 to 3 quotes, we're still checking that it's competitive. And when we feel it is, we're just recommending you still proceed if you so choose. So short answer is I believe this quote is still competitive.
Are there any other questions for our engineer? Okay. Comments, board discussion, or motion? What would you like to do?
It's pretty routine every year. I'll make a motion to approve the fuel quote for this year by James Oil.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion from the board? It does make me a little uneasy to have one bidder on something of this magnitude, but, in consideration that the Iowa DOT sets the rack price, and so what we're really looking at is margin.
Yeah.
And the margin is, you can see the vendor margin, even 10 cents, 10 cents, down 3 cents, down a fraction of a cent. I mean, it's getting others to bid on that, it's not going to change a whole lot. The difference between this year and last year is the $2.54 for a gallon of diesel and $4.04 for a gallon of diesel now. And we have 650 some miles that we need to do snow removal and rock application. That is expensive. That's not cheap, and that's not changing. So, that's where we are, and so it's up, $400,000. So we've got a motion, we've got a second. Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. With that said, I do hope it snows only on Christmas, Christmas Eve. And we don't push a whole lot of snow, and so some of that fuel stays in our tank, and we have an abundance of it next year.
Yes.
So, eternal optimist. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're gonna work through 6 through 8 while David's here, and then we'll jump back to number 4. Number 6 is consider approval of contract ID 91-C091-138A for bridge replacement PPCB on G64 Highway, Stone Street over S River Branch with possible action.
Okay, this is for the bridge replacement just east of R45 and just north of New Virginia on Stone Street. This was previously had a March letting where we recommended to the board to reject the bid received. So this has been relet as a November letting. And in that March letting, the reasons stated to reject the bid, which we formally submitted, were the fact that we only received one bidder, the bridge is still weight limited, and there was a detour still around the bridge, although it's a gravel road, there could still be ways for heavier vehicles to get around the bridge. So due to those 3 reasons, we recommended to the board that the bid was rejected and that we'd relet the project. So here we are today with the same project that's been relet. And then also back in March, the one bid we received was around 25% over the engineer's estimate, which was also maybe a sign of caution, but I think it more shows that when we're putting estimates together, it's lagging behind, 6 months to when the project's let. So again, fast forward to today, we received one bid again for this November. It's Herberger Construction, and the total bid amount is $885,775.82. And the engineer's estimate is $886,200. So with it being more in line with the estimate, us rebidding it, checking to see if there's going to be more bidders, unfortunately this time there's not. We at least know, we feel we're getting a competitive price. The bridge isn't getting any better. The weight limit's only going to drop over time, and it is an FM route. I think one of the benefits of delaying it a few months is we're not drawing down our FM account as quickly, so that does save up for other projects in the county. When we have a bridge that's still, 12 or 15 tons and dropping, and we can wait another 8 months to a year, there is some benefit in that, although we're rolling the dice with prices obviously nowadays. But I'll take any questions. I just wanted to give a little background on that one, because it was a previous bid that we did let and reject. It's the first rejected bid I've ever seen personally. So I think we had a lot of good justification back then, but now moving forward, with it being in line with the estimate, us still getting one bidder, but the pro side of it, we're not drawing down our farm to market account. I think we move forward finally and not
Yay.
see what another year brings.
Are there any questions for our engineer?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered everything in my mind.
Same.
Yeah, just for reference, we submit our estimate in August, so we turn these in around July, August, and then that's kind of the lag I'm talking about between letting and when we see the pricing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the contract as presented by our engineer for the bridge replacement on G64 Highway.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye, motion carries, thank you. Number 7 is consider approval of 2023 bridge postings with possible action. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is for our 2023 bridge condition postings that we just had completed in October. with Calhoun and Burns. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. You'll see some of them have raised in the postings, and that's due to repairs or replacements that we did through the year. There's one bridge, J0803, which went from 3 tons to closed. That was due to a vehicle accident that damaged the bridge structurally, and it's on a level B road, so that's going to stay closed for a little while. And then the bridge S34010 went from legal to 428, 540, 640. That's a bridge is located on our county line with Lucas County. So that's actually their bridge to monitor, have inspected and stuff. So sometimes I don't get them inspection reports for maybe a year after it's done. So, and I noticed that when I got that, I was like, oh, I need to get that on theirs. But it's their, we share the bridge, but yet it's still theirs to inspect and stuff. So, but everything else was just due to condition. Failed piling is probably the biggest thing on the timber piles. So that was about it. So it's not too bad, really, compared to some years where I've had 2 or 3 closures or something, you know, so.
Where is J0803?
It's on 200th Avenue, just of Milo on a level B road. And there is access, you know, there'll be no issues with people being able to get to farm fields and stuff like that. So you know, it was, that accident happened, I believe it was late summer, wasn't it? Right around there, so.
Around budget time, there's going to be probably 3 to 6 areas we're going to pinpoint. Not to say we're going to budget for them, but we'd like to pinpoint possible road upgrades from level B to level A if we know we're not going to replace bridges in an area. We feel that maybe the county should be a little proactive to upgrade a couple roads in these areas, knowing that the bridge won't be replaced, just to give, you know, I think Pioneer Street and 65 is another area we pinpointed, but if there's spots like that, not to say there's going to be funding for it, but we need to at least pinpoint, I think, these locations for future upgrades.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve 2023 bridge postings.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. All right, we're back on number 4. Consider approval of application to use Warren County Administration Building with possible action. Good morning, Vicki.
Good morning.
Hi.
I've done this before. So I am requesting to use the the gymnasium for a fundraiser I'm wanting to do for my son. He's going to Canada for school for his French class, and we're wanting to do pictures with pets for Santa. We have all of the things to do, and ourselves will be providing it all with the auditor's office and cleaning and everything. It wouldn't be anything anyone needed to do, and it's for the 12th, Monday the 12th. Yeah, we just need a little corner of the area with the red curtain we'll use as a backdrop. So it wouldn't be the whole area at all.
Do you need anything from the county to get your spot set up or?
No.
For maintenance?
No.
or Facilities, okay.
No, every one of it, we have chairs and rugs and stuff already ready for it, sleigh.
Are there any questions for Vicki?
I have no issues.
No. This is great, thanks.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the Pictures with Pets application to use the gymnasium in the administration building. That's December 15th.
12th. Did I write the 15th?
Yep, you'd have, that's
we
okay.
had to
December
change it to
12th from 5 to 7.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, thank you.
Number 8 is consider storm sewer easement for the city of West Des Moines at Fox Ridge Development with possible action. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. I was contacted by Seth Dodge
the attorney who's been working on, with the Fox Ridge project, they had sent an easement, it's a storm sewer easement, related to Fox Ridge, and it goes under the Great Western Trail there. This had been approved by the County Conservation Board in May of 2021. Somehow in the changeover of attorneys and then also project managers, this one got missed. So all we're asking is that the board approve this storm sewer easement. It has been redrawn. It is smaller than the initial one. I've communicated with Joel Romy, who is the person who drafted the easement document, the attachment. It looks like this, and it should be in your packet. And he said, yes, the smaller one, the newer one, which was done in June, I think, of 21, is the right one to use. And Anastasia from D.R. Horton Group, the developer up there, also agrees that this is the one that should be used. So I'm asking the board to approve the public storm sewer easement between the city of West Des Moines and Warren County.
All right, are there any questions for our county attorney?
All right.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the easement for West Des Moines at Fox Ridge Development as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 9 today is maintenance update.
Good morning. Cody was going to do this, but he's out today, so I took his notes. Just kind of an update on what maintenance has been working on for the past few months. They've started working on an inventory for the eMate app that is on the agenda for a little bit later. We have worked on some sump pump discharge fixes at the admin building on the south side and the east side of the building. There's still a couple things that we have to do, but the major part of that has been done. There was some water damage over in the temple that they got repaired and fixed back in their storage room. Door scheduling, all three of them, they've gotten a manual, so they're all three working on getting trained. Cody is the last one to the show, but Josh and Kirk are both able to get in there and make any changes when those requests comes for opening the doors here at the admin building. They worked on getting the crow's nest up for Joelle so that Kate could move her office in there, so that's done. They are currently, Cody is working with a vendor to look at the cameras that are here at the admin building, upgrading those. We'll be coming to the board later with a request to make those changes. Cody was able to go into dispatch and kind of pull up the cameras and look and see. He used to work for a security, A+, I think is where he worked. And so he can see where there's need and working with them to come up with a solution to make sure that this facility is just as safe as the Justice Center. So there will be some changes that will need to be made, upgrading, so that we can have everything new instead of piecemealing it together to try and make the old stuff work with the new stuff. So that's a big project that they're working on. They do have a filter schedule in place at the Justice Center, so there's been no water that has come through the
Dispatch.
DOAS units, which is nice. They are working on a lift quote to get a lift for the Justice Center that'll go in behind the jail cells so that they can access the upper level for repairs and any other repairs that they might need that are at a higher level. The only area that, with the lift that they're looking at, that won't be able to be reached is obviously in the main lobby. And with the need there, they've determined that it's just going to be cheaper to rent something for a few days to get in and do whatever needs to be done at that point. Benefits of being a 3-person team, I hope that everybody else is seeing it, but as soon as tickets are getting submitted and needs are being submitted, like, they're on it. Things are being done. They're able to delegate that work out, get those tickets turned around. We have our weekly meetings, and over the past probably 3 or 4 weeks, it's been rare that they've brought something that had to be put on for the next week's agenda. And if it is, it's something that they have to get a part for, or we're waiting on something. So that's been, hopefully everyone's seeing that that's a huge plus. The CICS area out at the DHS space, in the back of the CICS space, they had 2 areas where they had, one was kind of a conference room and the other one was offices that they just were using for storage, that had some cubicles that were in there that they moved over to health services for Joelle to use for her new staff. And Josh has been over there working on getting the holes patched, getting it cleaned up. It's been neglected for a little bit, so getting that space back to where they can use it. And then Irely Ball is going to use that for a area that they can have parents and youth, I guess, so they can sit in there and interact, and it's a bigger space for them, for their purposes.
Good.
The boiler, what's that? Oh, yeah. I know I sent pictures to all employees about the recycle bins that I know the board is working on, but after they spent over an hour on Friday cleaning up, when I drove by Monday morning, it's 10 times worse than it was. So just, I know you guys are working on it, but it is something that the guys are out there cleaning up the extra stuff. It's just blowing everywhere. I mean, we were picking up across the street, down the street, so it's unfortunate. And while we were there, the people that did come to drop off their trash, we were letting them know, hey, these are going to be going away, this is what you're going to be doing. And every single person, there was probably a half a dozen at least, said, it's unfortunate that it has to happen this way, but we understand, because when we come here and it's blowing or it's stacked next to the trash can, then we just take it home and then take our chances that the next time that we come, it's going to be emptied. So I think there's a lot of people out there that understand and get it, and I know the neighbors are probably not liking seeing that trash, but, you know, the guys get out there as fast as they can to keep that picked up, so.
Well, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for a lot of reasons. The intent of it was to, I mean, people that live inside of Norwalk and Indianola and Carlisle have the option to pay for a green recycling tub, and they come and pick it up. And there's a cost for that.
Right.
And the rural people, recycling is not a high margin business to begin with. And so it makes no sense if you're putting $4 a gallon diesel fuel in and driving a mile or two to pick up one bin of recycling in the rural area on a gravel road. That makes 0 sense. And so the fix was, from the county, was to provide recycling opportunity for rural residents. It's not being used that way. It's being used as a dumping ground from people that have the ability to pay for, and frequently do pay for, their own recycling bins. So we will work on a fix, but in the meanwhile, it is unsightly. The Opera House has to just loathe looking into that parking lot, as do many of the county employees, as do many of the citizens, and certainly the people that live right in that area. But all of those, the trash, the pop cans full of chew spit that just get tossed in there with diapers and all this other, it commingles it. It doesn't serve its purpose, and it's going away. And if you want to know why, look in the mirror, because it is the abuse of the citizens that frequently are dumping it when it's not intended for them. So the board and a future board will create a fix for the rural residents, and the folks in town go buy a recycling bin and recycle if you so choose to, which I encourage you to do, but that's the way it's going to be.
And just so the board knows, I did have Darren asked me to have a sign made, so I had a big banner made that said that no dumping. So once the dumpster's gone, no dumping, directing them and giving them the address to TRM so that they know that they're going directly to TRM, so that hopefully we can prevent the guys having to go out and clean stuff up, but.
If the board or future board starts getting a whole bunch of just dumped items when there's no bins there and there's big signs that say no dumping, then go invest in a camera and go start issuing tickets. That's what needs to occur.
Yeah, and
I mean-
Michaela did have it set up December 8th is when they're coming. That'll be the last day that they'll be there. But honestly, there's no room, unless they came out. I didn't notice it gone this morning when I drove by.
They're supposed to pick up on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Okay, so maybe I just drove by before, but, yeah, just a plea to not dump your stuff because there's no room at the inn.
Nice Christmas reference, Jamie.
Okay, I think that is it for that.
All right, thank you for the update.
Yep, thank you. Oh, I guess I'm next too.
Number 10 is discussion regarding clerk's exhibit storage with possible action.
So in your packets, you should have what looks like a dog kennel, which essentially is what it is. So the clerk's office, prior to moving from the court facilities out to the Justice Center, we were trying to work out a way in the basement shell space where future juvenile court rooms will be located, that they could house their files there temporarily and their exhibits there temporarily until we are able to figure out a permanent storage solution. So temporary solution is they've come up with this sort of kennel system. It's a 10-foot high, 10-foot panels, 10 foot by 10 foot, and then 6-foot high panels. So they will assemble them in that area. They may have to bolt them into the cinder block, may have to bolt them into the floor to keep them, to prevent, should anybody get down there, from pushing them. But it would be that when we go to finish that space out, they would just have to plug those holes with concrete or some sort of filler to, the floor is going to be covered, the walls will be covered. So this is what they presented as what they would like to do. So I told them I would talk to the board and make sure that you guys were okay with them moving forward on that.
Did you get a quote for it?
It's all covered by them. It's all their responsibility.
Probation.
It would be the clerk's
Clerk of
office.
courts?
Yes.
I'm okay with it.
So no cost to the county.
And do we have adequate space for them? It's in
Yeah, they've
the,
already got it set up. We kind of, I positioned them in a place so that, knowing that they were going to have to block it off at some point, so it's back in a corner, so it'll be pretty much a two-sided system.
Okay.
I sort of personally take the approach with the court side of the shell space in the basement that will, or could eventually hold 2 new courtrooms, that until that day happens, how they want to rearrange their deck chairs in their shell space, I'm pretty indifferent. Have at it. Now, when they need to have additional courtroom space, then that, what they choose to do now might impact that, but
Right.
that'll be a them decision to find new accommodations for their stuff, because there will be courtroom spaces, as this county's not building an additional courthouse or courtroom space for them. It's in the basement. So, that's what they want to do. I'm good with it.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't think we, yeah, that's just, I don't think we need to do a possible action with that. I'm good with it.
We're good? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No financial impact and no, I'm good with it. All right, number 11 is discussion regarding Liberty Center with possible action.
So Tracy and I, initially, when the board moved maintenance and cleaning back under Tracy, there was some discussions about Liberty Center, and that's kind of up in the air as far as who is supervising what happens at Liberty Center. I asked Kirk to provide a log of everything that's happened this year, and in your packet, there's a Liberty Center duties list. So Tracy and I just want to, yeah, he's here. Tracy and I wanted to get a feel from the board. Kirk thought that it stayed underneath the board. Tracy wants to make sure that if that's the case, that the board understands that there's nobody trained in a backup capacity, unless somebody from the board is tracking and making sure that everything that's supposed to be done at Liberty Center is being done. I know that they have been busy. Kirk has mentioned that he hasn't been able to get out to Liberty Center to do the checks. So it's kind of been a hands-off thing for us, but it's something that Tracy really wants to get that back up. So if the board wants Tracy and I to take that over, we'll work with Kirk to get that done. I did ask him to bring a list of, or a copy of all the reports, which he brought me this morning. I have absolutely no idea what they mean. So I just want to make sure that the board is aware that if the board is keeping that, we would just like to make sure that it's not something that the board is expecting us to do. And if the board wants us to, then we'll start getting stuff documented and.
Yeah, I think it's been a priority of ours to have cross-trained individuals for everything that happens at the county. So I would be in favor of the facilities
Under
committee,
Tracy? Oh, okay.
which should be under Tracy, to take that over, and then to have other maintenance employees also understand what's going on, so we don't just have one person in Warren County that knows. That way, there could be a shared responsibility. I know it was on call for a long time, and I think that is unfair to one person. So,
Okay.
those are my thoughts.
I agree. I agree with Crystal.
Thank you.
I'm fine with either the facilities committee or the auditor's office. I don't think that, what I don't think is that it should land on or continue to be retained under the board. I mean, this board, myself, I'll admit it, I'm, as much as you don't understand what's on those reports, this guy doesn't either. And so you might as well have some oversight of it that actually has some technical experience and make sure that we're doing a good job with it. So I would certainly vote for either Tracy or the facilities committee under Tracy. That's sort of 6-1, half dozen the other in my mind, but I'm good with that.
Okay. We'll start working on that Friday then at our weekly meeting.
Right. And what I'd like to see is who is going to be responsible for it, like the technical aspects of it, the reporting, and then the person who is assigned to cross-train with that person. So, thank you.
Okay.
Just a question with that, the payments that we get every month from the residents. We get them in our office a lot, and I want to send them to the board. Will that change? I guess I don't really know who pays that bill, or who collects that money, I mean.
Okay, right now it's under the board. So obviously, if this is moving, it should go to the facilities committee. So.
I mean, ultimately, it's going to go to the auditor.
Right. So when we get those individuals, then right now, send them to the board, and then we will forward them to the committee, and then you can come back to us on who has responsibilities for what.
Okay.
So just send them to the board for now.
For now, yeah. Thank you for that clarification, yeah.
How often is that?
I don't know.
Once a
Don't we
month?
pay it monthly?
Okay.
I think, I don't know. It's-
Most people do, yeah.
Yeah, we don't get all of them, but every now and then we tax
Yeah.
out.
Are
Okay.
they physical checks or is it a direct deposit deal?
They are checks.
Checks.
Yeah.
So Michaela just asked, she's got info, so we'll just invite her to the next meeting so she can explain that part of it, so we can hash out the details.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
question, thank you.
Yeah.
Were you saying something?
This one probably needs a motion.
Yes.
Who would like to make it?
Okay. I will make a motion to put the Liberty Center duties under the purview of the county auditor and the facilities committee. And duties and responsibilities will be worked out. Currently, whoever is handling it now will continue until the lines of responsibility are clarified. That's my motion.
Second.
Any discussion from our board?
And I'd say maybe a month, maybe next month we can, would that be enough time?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. Number 12 is discussion regarding moving Kirk Baker from hourly to salary with possible action.
So in your packet, you should have a sheet that has Kirk's overtime hours for, Linnea ran them for me for 21, what says 21 and 22? So it's just under $6,000. A majority of this is for what we just talked about, for being on call for Liberty Center. So every pay period, he gets it's like just shy of $213 a pay period for being on call for Liberty Center. So that is what most of this overtime is for. Outside of that, he doesn't get a lot of overtime. He doesn't submit for a lot of overtime. In doing some research with Lene to go through who's on salary and who's hourly for people that are in a similar position as to what Kirk is, I also attached an email from Lene showing that Kim Sheets, who's in the treasurer's office, is salary, or sorry, auditor's office. Alex in the county attorney's office is salary. Phil in the sheriff's office is salary. Sharon Jones in the treasurer's office is salary. Sheila, who is in health services, she's hourly. Sharon Wiley is salary, and Ashley in the engineer's office is hourly. So the thought of moving him to a salaried position would free up a little bit of overtime funds that then could be put towards Cody's additional costs of bringing him on full-time, and put him more in alignment with kind of people that are in a similar position as he is.
Okay, well, my only question is, I know about increasing Cody, but if Kirk has been doing this work, I know we just talked about Liberty Center, it looks like there's a pattern to the overtime, specifically like in July, there seems to be a lot of hours during that time. And I am going to assume that Kirk is probably going to be intimately involved in Liberty Center as well going forward. And then in November, December timeframe, there seems to be a lot of time again. And I don't know if that's report or if that's actually going out to the sewer site. But those are I'd like him to be compensated somehow for that as well. Because that is, and you have to be certified, am I not correct? You have to be certified to do that, so it's not like you can just ask another one of the maintenance guys without them retraining. So I think that's something to be considered.
My take, Jamie, is I'd really like, I'm great if Kirk is interested in going to salary. I think that's overall or generally, I'm fine with that. I'd like to talk with him about it. I'd like to.
Yeah, I asked him to be here so you guys could ask him any questions.
But my bigger preference is I'd rather do those sorts of decision makings in a work session where we can sit a little more freely and hammer out some details. So, at this point, overall I'm supportive of it. I don't have some numbers in front of me. I don't have, Lene is not here.
Yeah, she's right there.
Okay, Lene is back here. I'd rather do it in a work session.
Okay.
That way we can actually talk numbers a little bit better and figure out, that might address some of your concerns too of, hey, if he's still going to be doing a lot of the Liberty Center work as one example, where does that come in? What is the salary proposal? Let's hash that out in a work session, would be my preference. But
I agree.
I'm one of three, so if you guys want to do something else, go for it.
So what do you want to see in a work session, and I will work with Lene?
Yeah, proposed salary, any changes in benefit structure, duties and responsibilities, time estimates, those sorts of things.
I'd like, and is it predictable work that he has at Liberty Center, or does he get called in the middle of the night? How often is he disrupted in his personal, activities? Just nailing that down. I mean, if it's pump maintenance and that can happen when he wants it to, is it consistent? Or, you know, does he get alarms on his phone and have to leave his family?
Okay.
And do we have a work session for next Tuesday? Let's do it then, if that's okay.
Next Tuesday? Okay.
That's enough time. That way we're addressing it still in December, somewhat contemporaneously to the request, but not,
I like it.
I don't know what I don't know.
Thank you.
And then you got two more.
Well, number 13 comes off because Shive didn't give me the paperwork, so.
Let's add that to a work session and then tack on a special meeting after the work session if we have it by Tuesday. But I'm going to press. I would like to have as much of the Justice Center completed as far as retainage payouts and, by the end of the year. So,
Yep. And then
trying to clear your plate off a little bit for you, Mark.
Katie's doing the e-maint discussion.
Sounds good.
Okay, hang on. Jamie, I had a question for you. Back at the maintenance update,
Yes.
you said that there was a filter schedule for the Justice Center. Is one being worked for the admin building as well?
So they are taking back the filter changes over here. I don't know do you have it on the schedule now for this building?
It's quarterly. I don't have it actually like on our calendar yet. Well, I might actually. It'll be quarterly every 3 months. They just changed filters out in November. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Next up is number 14, discussion regarding eMate.
Good morning. I got in your packet, you were probably given a proposal. Brian sent me a new proposal because we had a discussion from last time. You wanted to see if other departments wanted to join in this project with us. So I had Brian do another demonstration, and we added zoning, and we also added IT and health services. So I had him add licensing for those departments as well. He has also asked if we could get this approved before the end of the year and a contract signed. They are willing to do incentives for us. We could do, he said, pricing incentives, some type of free service for boot camps, or we could also do a couple months free service at no charge. So my proposal would be doing the couple months of free service and getting the $3,000 off for them, for this.
What are the material changes between what's in my packet and this?
Yeah,
So in this one,
the pricing.
the pricing,
Yeah.
he has added more, we've added a mobile user and he's added more professional users, so full users. So on page 2, it says the grand total.
Okay, 40,000. Is it that 40,000?
Yep, the $40,470.
Okay.
For a full year.
All right. And didn't you review this contract?
We have not,
Okay.
yes.
I thought you had reviewed a different, was it no? Okay. Am I getting the Koenig? Yeah, I'm getting that one confused. Okay, thank you.
So I'm asking the board to fund it for the first year. So, and then after that, we can see where the funds need to come from. So IT has, they are on board to have the help desk tickets go through eMate, which will be a lot easier for them. They'll be able to go, everything is saved. So if you have a problem, one person has a problem 1 week, and then another person has the same problem, they can go back and research it, versus they cannot do that now.
Okay. And again, I'm at the same spot. I'm not trying to be difficult.
Nope, you're good.
Sometimes do try to be difficult, but I'm not trying to be difficult with you. The number doesn't shock me. The number of users may be a little high still, but until we have it reviewed, I'm not voting on contracts for the
Okay.
board. So add it to next Tuesday work session and a special to follow, and then we can have time. But when, and it's not a you thing or Jamie thing, across the board, I'm standard.
Yeah.
I'm not deviating. I
Great.
voted no on some rezonings yesterday, the last meeting, because I have a position and I stay within that position, usually. And my position on contracts for the county is until they're reviewed, until legal reviews them and has no issues, I'm not voting on them. So,
And
Tuesday.
Yeah, I think a little further review, I'm excited about the users. I'm glad that there's more and more people in the county who want to use it. I think this is going to be worth it. So, and it will really be able to pinpoint a lot of our inventory and usage and go hand in hand with our budgeting, which is our responsibility as a board. So thank you. This is an exciting project. So, yeah, I look forward to Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to understand more like how the different departments are going to use it. Like how is zoning going to use this software?
That I'm not sure.
Like if they could be there in that work session just to, like,
There's an
what's the benefit?
If there's an additional cost to add another department on, they also have to provide some credible information or evidence to us that they're going to use it in a way that's meaningful and material and beneficial.
I totally understand maintenance and I
Yeah.
somewhat
Get maintenance.
understand engineering, but when it's zoning and IT, like what's going to be the benefit to those departments when they use this software? If
That'd be
they could
great.
come and tell us.
Yeah,
And I think they will. Again, I think it'll
Yeah.
pass. I
Yeah,
think we'll
just
have it
wanna-
funded before the end of the year, and they'll probably do what they need to do. But I
I
can't.
just want to understand it.
yeah, absolutely.
And can we make it a department head meeting, you think?
Yeah, let's
On
do-
next Tuesday?
let's
as
do
well?
that, too.
Okay.
We can do with a work session, department head meeting, and then a special for cleanup stuff.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And number 15 on our agenda is discussion regarding Girl Scout use of old juvenile court office in the annex for Home for the Holidays activity with possible action.
So Andrea Semple scurrying around last week trying to find a location and reached out and I said, there's nobody in there. And so she asked if she could squeeze an application in. It is for Girl Scouts. She did inquire about the rental fee and wondered about that being waived. I do not know anything about whether or not Girl Scouts have insurance for, I would assume for some activity like this, that they would have something that they could do, but with the activity being on Saturday, I could try and reach her at home and see if she could line something up to get me the copy for Michaela of whatever insurance they have. So essentially, they just want to do it's a cake auction. They bring in cakes. It's how they raise money for their troop. And
So they would be using the juvenile court side with the window
yes.
facing out?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, there will be vendors outside, which is one of the things that she was concerned about because people won't be able to walk by and look in the window and see them there. There will be vendors out there. But it sounds like she might have something planned to get people to come in. And we do have decorations that are planned for the windows and stuff, so that might help them out. But
Okay. Be awesome.
yeah, the insurance part of it, I'm not sure.
I would guess Girl Scouts of America has insurance.
Yeah, I would
Or
assume.
can at least purchase it for the one-time event. And I think my vote is going to hinge on whether that can be acquired or not.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because that leaves us in a lurch if they can't.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So if you're in agreement, do you want to approve it if they can, present
Yes.
the certificate? And if they can't, then,
I'll make a motion for approval in the event that insurance can be secured by the Girl Scouts.
Waiving the rental fee too?
I think since Andrea is an employee, I look at it she has personal interest, and she's, so I would look at waiving the deposit as well.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Is there any discussion from the board? I'm really okay either way on this. It's a cake sale. It's the front part of the building. I mean,
I just don't want
but
someone
I
getting
get
hurt,
it. I mean,
you know?
if someone, I get it, but
Something happening, and
we have a motion and a second, but I'm generally fine with it. It's Christmas time. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can find something. I bet Girl Scouts of America has some minor
sure.
events like this, and if they can wrangle a quick copy of it, get it to Michaela or the board, and then they already have their pre-approval for it, and they can use it. Okay, thank you. That event keeps growing.
I know.
I mean, I don't know what everyone else is doing on December 10 that evening after 5 o'clock, but if you're not in Indianola, you're missing out.
The Justice Center first floor is pretty much going to be transformed into Whoville, so.
Woohoo!
It's gonna be something.
Yay.
And Amy, isn't there a lighted parade too? And there's fire twirlers.
Yeah.
There's cakes to eat.
It's going to be exciting.
Santa Claus will be there.
Letters, cookies.
Yay.
I like it. All right. Number 16 is receive and file reports. Today we have 3 reports. Veterans Affair, General Assistance, and the 2022 Weed Commissioners Report. I'll make a motion to receive and file each of those reports.
Second.
Discussion, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. And next up is Supervisors Report. Would anyone like to go today or go first?
I'll go first. Okay. So I had an Aging Resources Board of Directors meeting, North and Middle River Watershed Management Authority meeting, the e-maintenance demo, Board of Supervisors work session. I think we had 4 of them, and 3 specials, and one being a special zoning hearing and a work session on recycling. So I met with certain mayors and city councils in preparation of the 911 Joint Service Board this Thursday at 6 p.m. in the boardroom. I spoke to TRM, and I'm working with our Assistant County Attorney on contracts, and I hope to present that at next work session to you guys. I hope so, right, Don? And then with Luke and his presentation today about Norwalk's HR wages revamp and how their employees' reaction to the process, I think we need to really focus in on that for our employees. So anyways, that's my report.
Thank you, Crystal. Darren, anything?
I was able to attend 2 facility committee meetings, a sheriff advisory committee meeting. We also had an exit interview with a DCI group that went very well. The purpose of that was for us to provide feedback on their work with us on the Justice Center. Very positive meeting. I attended a zoning work session. I've also, the recycling work session and a few minor things. There's also an engineer's work session, a zoning meeting. I met with Tom Lampe, our dispatch, our communications director. Talked about some of his challenges. I also met with Joe Kerko regarding bringing inmates into our jail from other counties. He's got some good things working there. I also attended a union negotiation meeting and a November 9th special emergency meeting. And that's my report.
Thank you, Darren. And I'm going to save mine for my final meeting, which is December 20th. All right, public input. Is there anyone from the public, either online or in the room, who would like to speak. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will not take any action on the comments due to the requirements of the open meetings law, but may do so in the future and frequently does. No public input will be allowed for any of today's agenda items. We have 6 viewers online today.
That's good.
All right, we got a few. All right, last call. Great, our next public meeting will be December 20th, 2022 at 6 PM. That's an evening meeting for your benefit here in the administration building. And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, we're all adjourned. Have a great day.
Thank you.